Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right, let's get this shit started. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed episode number 85 with Kristen Stovall, author of the Song of Souls books. I thought maybe at some point, maybe I'd want to be an author, but to me, it's like, that's a lot of work after listening to that. I just like to jumble my thoughts out there and throw out these shit shows like I normally do. Enough about me, though. We're back with the familiar guest and actually kind of a recurring co-host for us. I don't know what appearance this is for her, but she's been on a bunch of times, and you all know her. Let's welcome back AstroMonica.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Where's my applause? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you got better. You got theme music there.
I know. I saw that. I mean, I heard that.
And listen to it real quick because it suits you.
See. Oh God. My God, you really had to pick this song.
There we go.
We are in the Age of Aquarius, by the way.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
Oh man, I didn't even have to know that. I knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, we are. We entered the Age of Aquarius last year, so we see a lot of like revelations, a lot of like the government falling down. The U.S., United States, is going to go through their Pluto return, which is actually the government kind of like. People are going to wake up and understand that the government is really hiding things from us. I don't know if I should really talk about that because,
we don't want you kidnapped tomorrow.
No, not that. I'm saying like, I don't want to look like I'm wearing a tin, foil hat because I'm not really a conspiracy person,
No, you just carry around rocks and they tell you what to do.
Okay, thanks. You sound like my brother now. Like he's like, yeah, you over there carrying little rocks. Okay, because all I do is kick rocks, right?
But how are the stars and moons and everything treating you?
It's been very well. Venus is in retrograde right now. Well, it's about to enter a retrograde. There's a solar moon. There's a new moon solar eclipse on Sunday, December the 4th. I'm guessing you're gonna air this on
it'll be out Sunday the 4th.
So, okay, so today, let's say today, Sunday, December the 4th. Oh my God, I love it. There will be a new moon solar eclipse. And I don't remember what sign. I'm trying to remember. But I need to get back to that because I haven't been really, I know it, but I just can't process it because I had a really long day. But anyways, so that's happening. So a lot of chapters are going to close. And then the new ones are going to begin. So this is a time for a reflection of like what you need to let go. We actually had a full moon eclipse like 2 weeks ago. Man, let me just tell you, that shit threw me off completely.
There's a lunar eclipse like at night?
Yes, that was at nighttime where the moon turns really bright red orange, like the color of the sun. So this solar eclipse that's coming up, it's really heavy because it's like a new moon, and then right after the new moon, there's like a solar eclipse the next day. So the new moon is on Friday, the 3rd, December 3rd, and then the eclipse is on Saturday, the 4th.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then we're going through Venus retrograde, I believe, next week. I have the dates. They're somewhere in my notebook. I don't know. My notebook's lost. And that one is pretty much about relationships. It's going to be in the sign of Capricorn. So a lot of breakups, a lot of, trying to make sure you're trying to get your shit together in your love life. That's all I have to say. So, yeah. But yeah, and for me personally, the stars, it's been good. It's been good.
Yeah. And so much so that we're going to really kind of talk about a different topic, right? Where it's not so much astrology based as you're used to doing on the podcast. But you say there's a tie-in, right?
Yes, because we are in the age of Aquarius, so we want a lot of freedom. And I think a lot of us, don't really understand what's really like going on in the outside world other than astrology. And it's been brought up like, homelessness, because that's what we're going to talk about, homeless people. Yes, I work with an organization that works with homeless. I see a lot of these homeless, how they tell me that, they face all these challenges. And that's something that you have to remember, going back to astrology. Sometimes we have these challenges in our life. No, I'm not saying that it's totally okay, for you to be homeless, or, anyone to be homeless, because, it's not a place to be. But it ties down to like a lot of these challenges happens for us to go through, like the stars. How you just asked me, what are the stars bringing you? Well, a lot of these people, it's already it's written in the stars for them. And it's like, a lot of people say they choose to be homeless, but it's like, no, they do not choose to be homeless. We face different obstacles, different challenges. And then it goes back to like thinking, what if you're to be in that situation? Like, would you want to ask for help? A lot of people don't like to ask for help.
Right. I have a very mixed reaction to like, and it's gonna make me sound bad, but if I haven't been canceled yet, I think I'm okay. I have a very mixed reaction to the homeless population, because I feel for them. I do,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes it's like, and I get it, a lot of them are mentally ill, but even sometimes, for the ones that you're offering help to, they don't want it, like, and I'll give you some examples. I mean, I'm not just talking about, because there's a lot of people that'll talk about like, oh, I try to offer food, but they only want money. Whatever. That's superficial, right?
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was working at a school where they completely, all camped out and surrounded the school, right? So there was an encampment all around the block, and I was helping out, some of the community partners there, pass out information and get them help to get off the street there, because we needed the sidewalk clear. I mean, you have kids coming to school, you can't have what they had going on, drug use, prostitution, and this was all in daylight. Drug use, prostitution, theft, and I mean, I think there was even a murder or two there during that time. And so they just don't want the help. They'll get all upset and throw your pamphlets away and tell you to go away. And I just don't get that. I don't understand why. And again, I know you said it's not a choice, but some of them, it really seem like, hey, I'm choosing to do this. And I hate to break it down even further and possibly get even more canceled, but I'll tell you this: it wasn't any Hispanic people with kids out there. It was clearly, legal people. I'll leave it at that, because color is irrelevant at that point. But I'll just say clearly legal people were there. So
let me break it down to you, because and that's why a lot of people don't understand. And they, and it's two colors to this, realistically. I'll be honest, because I've worked in this field. I do outreach, where I go out and it's a social work. We are social workers for the homeless. We go out, we outreach, we let them know like these are the services that we provide for you. There are homeless that do deny the services, and I will tell you why. Because one, there are other organizations out there. I'm not gonna name them, but you can go ahead and look them up. And everything is politics. Okay, so putting that aside, I'm not gonna really get into that, because that's a whole different topic. But going back is actually that a lot of the organizations say we can provide this for you only. There's certain, like, because they have very limited amount of money and budgets, that they say, hey, this is X, Y, and Z for this, how much for homeless, figure it out on your own, So us as social workers, we go out to the field and, we talk to our clients and we let them know, like, hey, this is the services, would you be interested in it? Yes, I've been cussed out. Yes, I've been called a bitch. Yes, I've been called like, fuck you, get the fuck out of here. We've gotten thrown glass at, because they get upset. And you guys, people need to understand this, that we are invading their space. We are invading what is called home to them, And a lot of people think, well, they're taking up the space, and this and that. But it's like, yeah, but do you understand what they've gone through? Like, some of these people have lost their homes, have lost their jobs, or, we live in California, Los Angeles, California. Do you know how much rent is? Just a studio? It's like $1,300. Like,
and I wanted to jump in and talk about this later, but you're already on the subject. This is pathetic.
Yeah, and it's like, in the city of Los Angeles, it's like you have to pay, like there's like, if you fucking park outside when it's street cleaning, you'll get a fucking ticket.
Yeah.
And then there's apartments that you have to pay for parking just to park inside. Mm-hmm. People, like, you have to be really, like, sit down and think about what you really have to waste your money on, because being in LA is not cheap, And that's why I keep saying, please stop moving to LA, because you guys are making it more expensive for us.
I hate it, because it's like, I'm finally, at a point where I'm like, all right, cool. I'm making a very comfortable, wage now, where it's like, hey, I'm in the middle class bracket, it's like, and to me, I'm like, man, it would be nice to start thinking about buying a home. And I'm like, not so much, you start looking at what you got and how much you can save realistically. And, not to mention all the damn cash buyers out there. And anywhere near, the nice Southern California that you grew up in, I'm talking about within like a 40, 50 mile radius, you're not going to get anywhere near there unless you're making, 6 figures plus,
Yeah.
And that's, and that's still like, if you're in the low 6 figures, you're still kind of pushing it.
Yeah. And, there are, clients that can't afford rent anymore. So where do they end up? On the streets. Some end up actually in a motel or a hotel. That's if they can afford it. But imagine paying $100 per day, per day. So in a week, you have 7 days a week and $100 per night. That's like $700 in a fucking week. Now multiply that by 4 weeks. How much is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's just straight out of your damn mind right there.
Yeah. And then, getting paid $15, the minimum wage, which is like $15. Like, how am I going to live off of that? So you got to pay rent. You still got to pay for food. And if you have a child, you still have to pay for daycare. And then if you have a car, you have to pay for gas and insurance. It's like, come on, what the heck is going on, LA? Like, really? Well, a lot of people don't understand that some of these people, because I've encountered families that live in cars with like 2 kids, and it's like, damn, like, and people look and they're like, oh, well, such and such, like, she's not being a good mom, or it's like, look at those poor kids. But it's like, do you guys not understand that to live in LA, it's like you need to have like 5 incomes just to live in LA,
Oh, and you see those examples, though, I got to just interject real quick. Those are the ones I feel most sympathy toward, like I can relate to what they're going through, but as we'll talk about in a bit, not everybody's on my sympathy list there, but those are the ones that I feel for, the ones I'm talking about, the mom with multiple kids that just legitimately can't afford it. But
and then with this whole COVID thing, that just, it made things a lot more worse. A lot of families actually lost their jobs, couldn't afford rent. What happened? They either ended up on the street or they ended up with family. So it's like you have a family of 4, and then you still have addition of another family. And it's like, I actually know somebody that, they moved out and they had to go live with family. And it's like 10 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment. It's like, where else are they going to end up going? Now, if they move out to a different city, it's hard to get work because a lot of those places don't have a lot of, work jobs available. Yeah, you can get a job at a warehouse, but the number one thing about homeless is that people don't realize is that you see a lot of people who are immigrants. Unfortunately, and sad as it is, a lot of these organizations are for the homeless, which are nonprofits. They cannot give any help to the people who have no, who are not illegal, legal. I'm sorry, legal. And if they're illegal, it's so hard for them to get help, and then it ties down for them to get into substance abuse, and that substance abuse is obviously, you're drinking alcohol or you're consuming drugs. So then it ties back down to like, okay, now you're living on the street and it's like you have this desire to drink because you're in a really low point in your life, and what happens is that they end up being like even deeper in that hole, and people don't understand that. Then that's when you see them like angry, or they start developing like mental issues, because those are the side effects of drugs. They give you mental issues, you know. A lot of people don't know that. I'm assuming, because a lot of people tell me like, oh really, that's what happens, and it's like, yeah, no shit. Like,
yeah.
do you know
the fuck? Nobody does Red Ribbon Week in schools anymore.
I guess not, dude. Like, I just found out that we don't have that organization called DARE anymore. Like, it's gone. Is it gone?
I haven't seen it in ever. I mean, probably since early 90s, but
dude, late 90s, because I grew up in the late 90s, and I still remember seeing them, and out of a sudden it's like they're like, oh yeah, it's called Red Ribbon. Is that what it's called?
I don't know. Do you remember what DARE stood for?
I have no idea.
No.
Well, from what I actually...
Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program.
So what I heard, and I don't get me wrong, but I heard this from somebody that I'm really close with, that actually had told me that the reason why they got rid of that organization was because a lot of kids were getting introduced to drugs, and they were actually using the drugs because they wanted to know whether it was true or not.
Oh man. So it had a adverse effect for sure.
So instead of saying, hey, don't use drugs, it was saying, hey, go use drugs, because these are the fucking effects that you're probably going to end up getting, you know? And some of these kids were like, well, fuck it, I might as well do it, right? I mean, I don't know. They
just changed names, apparently. I just looked it up.
What did they change?
It was like a new curriculum. They instead of calling it DARE, they adopted the Keeping It Real curriculum. So, they wanted to appeal to urban young Hispanic kids, Black kids, and tell us to keep it real, Yeah. So that's always going to work.
Okay, because let's keep it real. All right. Let's keep it real that meth will will make your teeth fall off and give you a really bad acne. Let's keep it real.
God, yeah, that's terrible. But like with that though, the people listen, and again, if I need to be canceled, I'll be canceled. I don't care. Like I said, I feel for the mother with the kids that's struggling and living in the car and whatnot, but for the able-bodied American citizen that doesn't have any limbs cut off, doesn't have any kids with them, it's like you need to just give up your fucking drug habit and do what you need to do especially as a man. And I say that because life's not easy for anybody, but it's a lot easier for us men than like a woman on her own, right? And so, I mean, if you're an able-bodied man and you're homeless and you're on drugs, it's a series of choices. It's your choice, and I don't feel, again, I'm gonna take shit for it. I don't feel any pity for you if that's your story. I mean, if you have like some sort of pre-existing mental health issue, I mean, that's something that you can't help. But I mean, if you're just like a drug addict, like that's your fault.
So going back to that, thank you that you brought up the whole drug addict, and then how there's some people that are very embodied and like they're willing to work. Like, don't get me wrong, like I see it. Like I have participants that they're really healthy, they are young, and they just choose to be there because they think that's a lifestyle, I'll be honest, I'm really raw with them and very transparent, and I tell them like, okay, if you're sitting here and you're perfectly fine, what is the issue with you? Like what's going on through your mind? And then you say, well, it's because I'm going through this and this and this. And then I tell them like, yeah, you're going through that. I said, I went through the same shit. I separated. I'm a single parent. You don't see me fucking complaining about shit. I mean, maybe I might complain about stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like, how can I say it? Take responsibility of your accounts. Well, no, take accountability. Take accountability of your responsibilities. Oh my God, I'm so tongue-tied today.
Too many abilities there.
Yeah. So
keep it real. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just keep it real. Like it's what it really is. Um, there's times that a lot of these homeless actually go into substance abuse because of their mental illness. They don't know they have these illness. They don't know how to, like, they think that using drugs or drinking alcohol is going to actually make them calm down, but it actually makes their side effects really worse. And that's what I actually learned being out doing outreach. A lot of these clients that we have too, like, they're not even from in the States. Let me just tell you that they're not from the States. They're from outside the States. And the reason why that happens is because they think that coming out here, they come out here because the weather is a little bit better than anywhere else. Think about it realistically. Like, if they were to be in Miami, it is too humid out there. It's fucking hurricane season at times. Out here in LA, all you get is fucking sunny, fog, and wind. And then winter for like 10 minutes, and then it becomes summer again,
No, you're not kidding. When I was I was a bouncer for a while, and at some point I was in downtown LA, like probably, I don't know, I want to say 4 nights out of the week. And I remember specifically one guy, right? Big tall black dude. He was he was homeless, and the first thing he says when he comes off the bus, he looks at us, he goes, "Hey, where are all the homeless people at?" I'm like, they're all all over the place, man. Like,
yeah,
just look around. He goes, "No, where's that famous Skid Row?" He goes, "Where the black folk at?" I'm like, "Oh, I pointed him in direction, but I'm like, dude, this is your destination, like this." And he told us he was coming from Texas, right? I'm like,
yeah,
this is your destination. You want to go to Skid Row? Like, this is fucking doesn't make any sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go live on a fucking farm and live, do work and fucking, live without maybe a salary, but at least a place to live and food, or something. But what the hell?
yeah. A lot of these homeless, they think that because coming out to LA is going to be a little better situation, but actually we are very overpopulated on the homeless population. Very overpopulated. If you were to walk down Skid Row, you would not be able to walk down the streets. You can't even drive down the street.
Yeah, I hardly drive. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I drive down the street. I just say, "Hey, move out of the way." Like, I don't got time to run you over because I don't have the money, and I'm not gonna pay you as a lawyer because, I mean, realistically, you and I both have a hip problem. But no, yeah, it's really overpopulated, and people don't understand that these homeless come out here because it's a better situation living than where they're at. It's not too cold, it's not too hot. It's there's a lot of resources for the homeless, but they just choose, like, I'm not gonna say they choose not to, they just don't want to get the help because they don't want to see, like, they're verbal, they're vulnerable, they don't want to show off like they are weak. That's what it is. Because it's usually the male homeless.
Right, yeah.
Male homeless don't want to seem like, "Oh, I don't need your help. So what we do is that we come around 4 or 5 times and we kind of say, like, "Hey, like, we're not here to raid your space. We're just here to make sure that, you get to a better safe spot." I will say this though, a lot of the homeless communities right now, they are, especially, I don't know, have you driven off the 5 freeway?
Not as much. No, usually on the 10. But what about it? What part?
Okay, so you know where the 605 is at, right?
Yes, yeah, I'm very familiar.
Off of the 10 and 605.
Yeah.
Okay, you know where, like, Fabian Park area.
Yeah.
Okay, we're okay. We are in California, so whoever's listening, so these are freeways. We call them freeways. I know in the middle states they call them highways because I actually learned that. But okay, so the 605 and then the 10 in Fabian Park area, or what is that, City of Industry? Okay,
yeah. So I grew up in Omani, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
So you know how there's a riverbed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's a bike trail on that riverbed.
Yeah.
So but people don't know this, okay? So
but I know. Go ahead.
So on the riverbed, there's actually little communities out there. Like,
yeah.
Okay. So because obviously you live in California, Fabian. What do you expect?
If you notice, right? What's on the other side of that riverbed?
What's on the other side of the riverbed? What is it?
My high school, Mountain View High School.
Oh shit. Damn,
So
that's your high school, dude.
so
Right
we
off
used to
the
do
fucking riverbed. Oh
we
my
used to do
god.
the riverbed runs.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about then.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of homeless are. So there was a time, I don't know if you remember. There was a time that all these homeless were living on the riverbed, and you could not ride your bike. Okay, so there's actually gangs that facilitate the actual riverbeds.
Yeah.
And there's a special team that goes out there to go, to check out the riverbed. I actually got invited to go out there for work. And let me just tell you, man, I saw some shit that I was like, fuck, this is a hard ass job. But I'm not gonna say it's hard because it's not, but it's just a lot of emotions that are being tied to it. There's a lot of violence going on right now within a homeless community. I call it the homeless community because it's a community. To them, it's home, So I don't know if you heard about this, but like 2 months ago, they actually burned a homeless alive. Like he was alive. He was sleeping in his tent and they threw gas on him and they burnt him. So he died right there on the riverbed. But it was said that he was affiliated to I guess he wasn't affiliated. I'm sorry. They're trying to figure out what was the issue, what was the comment, or what was the cause. I'm sorry, not the comment. What was the cause of for this to happen? And what they were saying that there's somebody around there running around with a gun. There's a homeless guy running around there with a gun, threatening other people that they need to give up their spots. So they're scaring them away. And the reason why they're scaring them away is because they don't want there's gangs out there within the homeless that want to just take over and be like, this is our territory, you take care of your territory type of thing,
Yeah. I mean, whenever you go back to basics at that point, like almost like tribal shit, it's like you start claiming shit as your own and defending it as your own.
Yeah. And people don't understand that these homeless, the streets are their homes, that little piece of that little piece of square on the ground, that grid, that's their home, Well,
yeah, especially the riverbed there because it's covered, Yeah,
it's covered. And you know what? And a lot of people don't understand is that riverbed's actually a dangerous place to be because when it starts raining and it overflows, they actually drown. And they can't get their shit because that water comes in fucking it just comes rushing in. And it's great during the summertime because they are covered from the sun, so they won't, overheat or like get a heat stroke and die and all that stuff. But but yeah, a lot of I actually sit down and I talked to someone about this, and I actually had someone express to me and I'm not gonna say who he is because I'm not gonna put him on the spotlight. It's not you, Fabian, I promise it's not you.
All right.
But he brought it up to me. He goes, why do you work in that field? Why do you work in a social worker for homeless people? Like, if I was you, I would have just been like, fuck that. You don't get the help. Fuck you. You go figure out your shit. And, and I laughed and I said, that's an issue. I said, that is the biggest issue. He goes, what is the issue? I said, the humanity in people is dying out. We don't realize but a lot of people are so they're so into all these shit that's going on in the world about fucking this whole, what is this, Facebook Meta? What is that? I don't know what the fuck that is.
Who gives a shit, right?
Yeah, you think I'm gonna you really think I want to be fucking walking around my house with these fucking goggles that I can't see shit? I'm gonna fucking crash into a fucking wall? What the fuck is that? So I had told him, I was like, I understand and I get it, but you need to understand that the humanity that we're lacking of in this world, because it's not just here in the US, it's in the world. We're not helping one another. We're just kind of fuck you, you figure out your own shit, Then again, people in California, especially in Los Angeles, we voted for a measure, I think it's H, which is to give the homeless. There is a money for that, okay, well, that's politics. I'm not gonna get into that, but people don't understand that, if we have the resources, let's give them the resources. But then he said, why are you going to give them their fucking resources if they don't want to do it? I said, that's the thing. They lost trust in the humanity of others people because organizations out there, they say, hey, yeah, we're here to help you. But then they disappear and they get all these people's names and then they use the names just to get the money from the government.
Mm.
And and the homeless people are smart. And they're like, well, fuck you, because you promised us this. And it's like, nah, man, that was not me. Like, that was not me. That was a whole different organization.
Mm.
But then I asked the person, I said, well, how come you're not a big fan of like the homeless? This conversation today, I don't want people judging. I don't want people to say, talk bad about the podcast or anything. I just wanted to bring this awareness to people, because I feel that a lot of people don't understand that these homeless people also have either mental issues, substance abuse, or they have like nowhere to go. Like, there's people that, like, yesterday I met somebody. She was going out of state because she had cancer, so she was going out of state to go get her chemotherapy because she has lung cancer, I think, something like that. So she was telling us that she came back to California to buy herself a car because I guess she had money out here. I don't know what was. I wasn't kind of paying attention because I was kind of like, I'm hungry. Let's go, because I need to eat,
Right.
So she then tells us, she's like, yeah, but then she's mentioned that she had gotten a stroke while she was out in California, and she completely lost her mind. Like, she didn't know who she was, obviously, because those are the side effects of a stroke. So she says, yeah, I got stuck here in California, so now I can't go back to Arizona to finish my chemotherapy. And like, she was like 3 chemotherapies away. So that's when me and my colleague, we were talking about, he goes, it's really sad how people don't understand that some of these people are actually not here because they want to. They're here because something really happens to them, But number one factor of homelessness is actually mental illness. And the biggest one that you see a lot is schizophrenia and bipolar.
Right. Yeah.
Anxiety and depression as well.
Yeah. And again, I'm like, I'm all for helping them however we can, I'm really on the fence about things like, and I think I've already explained it a bit on here, where if you're throwing the help out, you're throwing the help out, and it's able-bodied, again, specifically geared toward able-bodied young men, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about 20s to 40s or whatever, with no disabilities, right? Then to me, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Go do something with your life, But again, if you're disabled, if you have mental health issues, if you got kids, I understand. I think the biggest thing that's the problem is that we're not looking for solutions. We're just saying, hey, it's a problem that needs to go away. And so we're not thinking deeper as far as like, where can we pivot? What can we turn? Excuse me. What can we turn? What stones can we turn? It's more just like, hey, it's a problem. Let's get rid of it. But you can't. There's so many laws around it. You can't even, you can't even ask a homeless person on the sidewalk to move their shit in LA because that's outlawed.
They get upset. Yeah.
No, that's outlawed. You can't do that unless unless they're obstructing, the actual walkway, right? If there's a place to walk, they're good. You cannot tell them, like as a police officer, they can't tell them shit, unless they're doing something illegal, clearly. But once they're in that space and they're, and they're off the path, the walkway, they're good to stay there.
Yeah, and the thing is that a lot of these homeless, they pick up their shit in the morning, like really early in the morning before everyone starts waking up. So that's why a lot of people don't understand that some of these homeless stay at a certain place all the time because they know, like, oh, it's opening time. Okay, I need to get up and go. Yeah. Those are the ones. Those are the homeless that are a little bit conscious of what's going on around them. Like, they're observant of what, like, okay, this is a common, like, this is a commercial area, so I need to get the hell out of here before they open up, because then if I'm still here, they're gonna call the police and blah blah. The ones who struggle to move out of their properties are the ones that are very stubborn and have been living on the street for more than 2 or 3 years. And those people are the ones that really don't want to move into any place because they're so used to being on the street. And hence, the reason why they're so used to living on the street is because they don't have to pay bills at all. They hustle, they, sell their cans, they sell copper, they sell whatever, cardboard, whatever it is that they're able to get. I do hear a lot the whole, well, do you have money? Can I have some money? Like, can you give me money? And it's so funny because I remember this one time, some homeless came up to us and he goes, hey, like, can I borrow $1 or two? And I said, excuse me? He goes, yeah, can I have, can I borrow? And I was like, you can't borrow money because I'm never going to see you again. I can give you money, but I said, even still then, I don't even have money. So like, I can give you some food. And he goes, why do you carry food with you? And I said, well, why not? I mean, I'm kind of hungry all the time, so might as well, right? So those homeless that like, they get so used to it. They're used to living in a free world where there's no rules. They don't want to follow the rules. Once they get like, some of them don't even want to go to a shelter because at a shelter you have rules where you can't leave. You can't leave at a certain time and you have to be back by a certain time,
Right.
So for them it's like they're being so like I'm being like held down on what I can do and not do. I've had clients where like we're like talking and they're just showing up straight up like heroin right in front of me. And those are the ones that we try to target a lot because we just want to make sure that they're not throwing these needles on the floor and getting somebody else like, sick or whatsoever. So, and I tell people like, you guys need to understand that some of these people are so used to living on the street. It's so hard to get them back into a home because they're used to the freedom. And it's like us, like once you eat something and I'm not going to compare it to that, but once you like something, you're going to keep going and going and going and going, right? And then sometimes you lose that control and you're just like, damn, I went this far for this. Like, no, let me try to go back and try to figure out. There are homeless people out there that do have jobs, but they just don't have a home because it's too expensive, You can't live, like I said, like prior to what we were talking about earlier, you can't live minimum wage in an apartment or a studio. You know?
I was like, just for shits and giggles, I was looking up like, okay, let's say I wanted to move it to LA, like like in LA, like in the city of LA. I never would, but
You mean where I live?
Right? Yeah.
Because I live in.
We're not going to be neighbors.
No, I live. Let me just explain. I live 7 minutes away from downtown LA area. So I'm literally like 3 minutes away from USC area. So I'm down the street from the Coliseum and the Bank of California Stadium and the Science Center. So
yeah, they want to charge like what, $1,500, $1,600 for a cheap ass studio out there.
For a 1-bedroom, it's about like $1,700, and I think for like a studio is like $1,500.
That's on the cheap end, though.
Huh? That's because this is us opening. Well, they consider it South Central, which is like the open. Because I live off of Figueroa. I don't know if many people know, but Figueroa is known for the prostitutes. Passing Age and Figueroa, you see all these like sex workers out there, hustling, trying to get by each night. Because the streets out here, they're pretty bad, but I'm not gonna say bad, but there are activities out here and there. But I also like to remind people, like, living in LA, it's not an LA where you can make your dreams come true. Like, you're gonna have to work hard and hustle out here.
Yeah, so all those starving artists and musicians and models, stay the fuck out in Kentucky.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Like, go back to Texas, go back to Washington. Girl, we don't need you over here. We got enough models out here.
All you Southern belles, stay out there in South Carolina. Right?
But hit up Fabian, because Fabian, are you still single, Fabian?
Yeah.
Okay. Hit up Fabian, because, he wants his little model out there.
Yeah.
we gotta do that profile. Hey, we should get you on Chispa, the dating website.
What?
Chispa? You never heard of it?
No, I never heard of that.
Okay, so apparently
is that for
it's
for paisas?
Yes, yeah, dude. Okay, no, I'm not on it. Okay, because I'm not on there. I'm taken. Sorry.
But how do you write
Chispa? CHISP.
No.
Chispa.
I'm saying how would you physically write?
I don't know, man. You got those voice memos now, so you could just say it through there.
Oh, that would be an experience. But yeah, go on about this. I'm intrigued now.
Okay, so we gotta do a podcast where we're gonna like totally sign you up for this and like see how it goes for a whole month. But anyway, so chispa is like I guess it's like a paisa thing. I don't know. I just know about it because someone keeps talking to me about it. It's like a lot of culture people, like Hispanic, are on that site. And I don't really know how it works, but it's kind of like Tinder, I guess, but you can like swipe left and right. You can pay to like, yeah, it's really weird. It's a dating website though. Yeah, it's yeah. Don't please, Fabian. I beg you, please don't get on dating website. I don't want to see you on the episode of Catfish on MTV.
No, I'd probably be on there like knowing full well it's catfish and seeing how far we can drag it because I think I was sharing with you how that almost popped up on Facebook one time.
Oh, that's right. But yeah, so going back to the mental illness, but yes, I'm a huge advocate for self-care. So for mental illness too. I don't advocate mental illness, but I'm saying like I advocate for to find the help, to find that a therapist. Going to therapy, it's gonna help you out. Like a lot of these people that live on the streets, they have a lot of trauma. Like people don't understand this. Like there's women out there that get raped, or get like assaulted, or like things happen to them during the nighttime because obviously everybody's at home. There's not much activity. There's not much action. From like pedestrians, I guess, like people that are busy day. At nighttime it's really quiet. So a lot of these people actually like they fear for their life, and I see it and I hear it because I've heard clients say, you know what, I fear that this and this and this and this, and I fear like this and this and this and this, So it's a lot of like not fear, but there's a lot of problems out there that people don't understand this. And I mean, everyone has their how can I say it? Their opinion to certain things, but it's just like let's start looking at humanity again and start understanding that these people actually need a little help. Like they need to learn how to trust. It's like like a breakup. You go through a breakup and then you don't trust certain people because you're like, fuck those, like fuck those Scorpios, fuck those Libras, knowing nothing. No, I'm just kidding. So it's like you have to regain that trust again, But yeah, it's just I don't know, Fabian. It's really hard to explain because a lot of people might say like, well, what the fuck is this bitch even talking about homelessness? Like, what the fuck does she think?
And I know we avoided the whole political aspect of it, but I do think that on some level they need to quit fucking around and saying, hey, we're going to help out the homeless and actually do something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get some of that money has been allocated for, kind of like the little, I don't even know what else to call it. Kind of like the tiny homes, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what that entails. So, I mean, I'm not the expert on that, but I mean, I want to say I'm hoping that's a step in the right direction, but again, I don't know all that it entails and what's been done to make sure that it's effective, but there needs to be more movement into finding solutions as opposed to just bitching about things.
Yeah, and that's what somebody was saying not that long ago. I guess I was reading an article that they're saying that homelessness is not a problem. And it's like, don't say it's a problem because realistically it's a cause of something that's going on because we can't live in the modern world society nowadays. Why? Because a lot of the things that we consume is so overpriced. Like just look at gas in Los Angeles, dude. It's like $5 per gallon. Fuck, dude. I remember in 1997, fucking gas was 99 cents. And I have a damn picture where I took in front of a gas station. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. Okay, I was
it was like for your future chispa profile. That's why.
Stupid. No.
Look, I was legal this long.
Oh my god, they're gonna say dame la gasolina, right?
Whoa. Man, I wish I still had that little chime right now. Too late.
It's all good. It's all good though. Yeah, dude, like, it's getting like it's a state, it's like a nationwide problem. Like it's a cause it's happening because everything is just going up and people don't understand. Like it's so ridiculous, dude. I'm just like ashamed of living in California at this point. Like if I were to go out of state, I'm not even gonna say I'm from California. I'm just gonna be like, look, bitch, I just came.
I might put up a poll, see how many people who are considering leaving California, because when you're looking up like house prices, and even let's say I grew up in Almani, right? I wanted to live in Almani in a modest, 3-bedroom home, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would set me back almost $1 million.
Yeah.
Right. I'm talking about maybe, high 7s or 8s. Right. But if you're looking at that same house, like in fucking Texas or something like that, it's like a fifth of that, a sixth of that. I'm like,
dude. So I have you know how I run a small business, right? So I actually have a customer who lives in Texas, and Fabian, are you sitting down?
Yes.
Okay. She said she pays about $800 for a fucking 2-bedroom. I'm sorry, 3-bedroom in Texas.
I'm about to end this podcast. Like,
I said, what the fuck am I doing in California? Why am I still here?
And then the bitch of it all too, though, is that now it's in a different world. You can realistically, work at home, right? And
you can put on those meta goggles for Facebook and like pretend you're in Texas.
Yeah. But like now that things have changed, that's what I was considering. I'm like, damn. I'm like, what if I just lived in a shittier area of California or a different state, and it doesn't even matter because I'm fucking home all day,
Yeah. I didn't know if you knew this, but my sibling left California and no longer lives in the states of California. Now he lives in a different state. I'm not gonna say where, but I was supporting him in his whatever it was. And I get it, sometimes we kind of just have to move from where we're really at, because like, we can't afford it. We can't, if we can afford something, we gotta find an alternative living somewhere else, I was just like thinking today, like, damn, like living like we were actually just talking to me and some colleagues, we were talking about it today earlier. I was like, dude, like, isn't it ridiculous how expensive California has gotten? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, but it was eventually gonna happen. I'm like, was it? Like who the fuck wants to live in California?
It's all these motherfuckers buying up all the properties and renting them out, to us chumps. Will pay it and raising the fucking rent every goddamn opportunity they get. It's greed. It's pure fucking greed, right?
Yeah. Because where's the humanity of helping one another instead of trying to, make them like, oh, well, fuck you. If you can't afford it, find it, we'll find somewhere else,
And see, here's the thing, though, and I hate to say it, but I can't fault them because they're playing by the rules, and that's
capitalism.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I look at everything, realistically on both ways, and it sucks because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't at that point. Yeah. But anyway, AstroMonica, I wanted to let's go ahead and save it for another time as well. I think this goes a lot deeper.
No, Fabian, you just want me to shut the fuck up because you said we're done with this fucking conversation.
That did piss me off, and I'm also very eager to start the Chispas profile. So it's a number of things, But before we go, I did want to, sort of, how do I put it? Chastise you because you have not started your podcast as you said you were going to start. And that was a false promise.
No,
we did a whole episode about it.
It's not a false promise. I'm actually working on it. Okay. I proposed myself. So here's the reason why I haven't started it. So I haven't started because I started working a full 8-hour shift job.
Right.
I love it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining because I'm not complaining about it. I love my job. I run a small business. I kind of stopped on my small business right now. I kind of gave myself a break because it was just very overwhelming throwing myself a business in an 8-hour shift and being a single parent. It's like, fuck, how was I dividing my time? And and I'm dating someone, so it's like, imagine like splitting, like I gotta split myself in 4. Do you know how hard that is? It's very hard. But yes, my podcast will be coming soon in 2020. I mean, sorry. No, I'm so sorry. I'm like, Fabian, it's like 10 something. I need to go to sleep. I go to work at 7.
The whole retrograde thing, is that what hit you?
No, it's just, you know what? I'll be honest. It's the new moon solar eclipse.
All right.
It's been having me. I'm in very, very high emotions. Like,
I'll take your word for it, but I'm assuming you meant 2022. Yes,
2022. That's when I'm going to bring my podcast. I actually found someone to do it with. So we're going to have, it's good. It's 2 single mamas. So I don't know what it's going to be called. I think it's going to be called 2 mamas, a late date with 2 mamas.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm sorry. A night with 2 mamas.
You should listen to, I had them on, I had a couple guests on, and a friend of mine, Nadine, who started a podcast, is called the Life Just Ain't Fair podcast.
Yeah,
kind of similar concept.
Yeah. So we want to talk about different things. I guess because my homegirl and we have a lot of similarities with like thinking about certain stuff, certain opinions, and I was kind of like, because she goes, hey, you should totally start your podcast, and I was like, yeah, I actually want to. And she offered, she was like, hey, I'll be your host. And I was like, you know what, dude, that's even better because we can talk. Let me just tell you, she calls me and we're on the phone for like a good whole 4 hours.
Ooh. There you go. There's like 4 episodes right there.
Yeah. And it's like, we're going to talk about dating. We're going to talk about being a single parent. We're going to talk about child support, for all those mamas out there that need to hit me up and I'm just kidding.
The courtroom battles and.
Yep. Yeah, but thank you so much, Fabian, for having me on your podcast and doing this. You're the best.
Yeah. I mean, every time we're breaking numbers over here, right? We're breaking records.
Hey, man, if you ever become famous, you gotta thank me.
You got your 40K listeners already, right?
Yeah, I know. I saw that. You know what? They're probably gonna be disappointed with this podcast. They're probably gonna be like, this bitch talking about something that's not even related to her astro world.
I think they're just gonna ask for Roy to come back. That's all.
Hey, so we should totally do a podcast with Roy.
We'll get him on Chispas as well.
Hey, that bald-headed little dude. We'll get some Chispas.
Now, before we go, do you want people to seek you out on social media, or are we staying away from that?
Sure, you can put me on there. I mean, I don't mind.
Where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on my business page. And they can find me. They can send me cool comments, but I don't like haters. So please don't hate on me on my personal account. All right. That's all I have to say.
What's your business one so people can check it out?
Oh, it's called Luna's Creation. I actually changed my name from Little Luna Creation to Luna's Creation because we grew. We are expanding. And we thought we had to drop the little because we're not little anymore. But yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, always appreciated. We'll have you on again. This is, like if people, I don't think people are tired of the same old people. In fact, they like it when we have returners on. But
yeah,
if anybody's tired of having the same old guests on and on, it's going to keep happening. So you can keep listening. And I don't give a shit. So
they're probably going to try to boot me off. They're like, check this bitch out with her homelessness and her mental illness. People, get them out of here.
It was different, and then we'll see if I get canceled or not. But
no, please don't cancel Fabian. We love Fabian.
I mean, it'll take one thing off my plate. I don't give a shit.
we need to represent South Amani. That's what it is.
Amani, South Amani's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Amani. My bad.
They're a little bougier than us. I think.
Well, let's pretend you live there. Damn, Fabian.
I would, but. We'll see if I don't become homeless first. But
don't worry, I'll service you.
With that being said, Everybody listening at home, appreciate it. Thank you. Fuck you and good night. Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.